Let's start the debate. The first question goes to Andrew Scheer, and the theme will be the economy. Nova Scotians are among the highest taxed people in Canada. The current Prime Minister says a carbon tax is needed to encourage people to innovate, to reduce carbon emissions, and grow the Canadian economy. What is your plan with respect to carbon pricing and the economy? Thank you. Maxime Bernier.
You know, I don't like taxes, and I don't like carbon tax. So for sure, under a Bernier government and a Conservative government of Canada, we won't have a carbon tax. I think it is hurting the economy. As you know, some provinces, they have a carbon tax, and it cannot solve the problem. So what we must do is to help the entrepreneur to invest in the economy for new technology. So we are, our emission, it's only 1.2% of carbon. So it is there, but we can do better, and with more innovation, more investment in the technology. So the best way to stimulate the economy is with private investment, and I have a plan for that. You can count on me. We won't have a carbon tax. Thank you.
Second theme is justice, and Stephen Blaney will be the first to respond. Late last year, a judge in Ontario struck down a mandatory one-year jail sentence for a perpetrator found guilty of sexual interference of a 15-year-old girl. Here in Nova Scotia, a young man was acquitted of sexual assault because he believed the sleeping victim had given consent. Do you feel the laws and penalties around sexual assault are adequate? If not, how would you change them? Maxime Bernier.
I'm very proud what we did under the Harper government. I think that was the right thing to do for Canadians and for the security of this country. What is the most important, we must have judges at the Supreme Court who will respect the sovereignty of the Parliament. And the judges are not there to make laws, they are there to interpret legislation. And I want to be sure that the next judge at the Supreme Court will be a judge that will interpret the Constitution and not making laws. I think that's very important. Thank you.
We'll move on to question 3. Our third theme is health care. Mr. O'Brien will be the first to respond. Health care spending in Nova Scotia represents approximately 40% of government spending. Awareness of mental illness has been growing in Nova Scotia, along with a significant increase in people attempting to access mental health care. Government spending regularly exceeds planned spending. What is your plan to address mental health in federal health care transfers, and would this be a priority? Maxime Bernier.
Canada has the worst wait times for surgery in the developed countries. We are the country who spend the most for health care in the OECD countries. So we must do something, but also health care, it's a 100% a provincial jurisdiction. So what we can do, in line with respecting our Constitution, instead of taxing Canadian and giving that to provinces, what we must do, we must lower taxes at the federal level and transfer tax points to provinces. Like that, they will be responsible, accountable before their population, and they will have the right incentive for having a universal mixed system, mixed healthcare system with private delivery and public delivery of services, but not like the US, like in Europe, like in Japan, like in Australia. So we can fix it, we can give the right incentive to provinces to do it. That is the solution and the right solution.
Kevin O'Leary will be the first to answer the next question. The theme is jobs. Nova Scotia is approaching a crisis. The province has faced prolonged, slow economic growth coupled with an aging and shrinking population. This is indicative of economies across Atlantic Canada. Given the serious demographic challenges and weak performance across the economy, what is your plan to support and grow Nova Scotia's economy and create jobs? Maxime Bernier.
I don't have a special plan to grow the economy here. I don't have a special plan to grow the economy in my own province, but I have a plan to grow the economy all across this country. I want to lower taxes for every single Canadian. I want to lower taxes for every single entrepreneur. I want to cut corporate welfare, and I want capital back. I want jobs back. I want people back. And it's already working. Kevin is with us today. So the most important is to believe in people and to believe in the entrepreneur. We have a plan. We want to abolish capital gains tax. I want you to keep your money in your pocket because you know better what to do with your money than a bureaucrat in Ottawa or a politician like myself.
This is the final question of the evening and also the final opportunity for candidates to use their rebuttals. A voice for Atlantic Canada is the final theme. Kelly Leach will be the first candidate to respond. Atlantic Canadians sent 32 Liberal MPs to Ottawa in the last election. With all our MPs and provincial premiers being Liberals, many in our region are starting to feel taken for granted. Under the Liberals, our Toronto MP is now the minister responsible for ACOA. Our voice on the Supreme Court was almost stripped away, and much needed and promised infrastructure dollars have been slow to come our way. Worse, none of our provincial governments appear ready to stand up to Ottawa. As leader of the Conservative Party, and then as Prime Minister, what specifically will you do to make sure Atlantic Canadians are fairly represented in Ottawa? Maxime Bernier.
I want to be your voice. I want to be the voice for Atlantic Canada, but also the voice for all Canadians. I want to help you to develop your economy, and I think the best way to do that is for having a real free trade in Canada. It is a shame that after 150 years in this country that we don't have an economic union. That was the condition for creating this country. We must have free trade. The cost for you is too huge because you're a small market. If you're not able to sell your goods to other provinces and outside this country, you won't be able to create wealth and jobs in this country. So if we have real free trade, we can increase the growth of the GDP here in Atlantic Canada by 2 and 3%. So we can do that together, and I have a plan for being sure that we'll have a real free trade, and this country will have an economic union after 150 years.
We will now begin the 90-second closing statements. Maxime Bernier.
We were not on the Dragon Dance stage tonight. You are not applying to work for us. We are applying to work for you. And that's what I want to do. I want to work for you. I want to work for my daughters, Charlotte and Megan, for your children, your grandchildren, because what the Trudeau government is doing right now, it is not fair for the future generation. We don't have a future. It's a big black hole. So we need to give opportunities to Canadians. We need to have a smaller government because we have faith in people. We have faith in people. We have faith in your ability to take your decision, to do what you want to do in life, and to decide your own destiny. We don't believe that a big fat government in Ottawa is the solution to every problem in a society. I believe that it's you, that you're having the solution, and we must be sure that you'll have all the tools to be able to achieve your dreams. And I want to be with you. And I want to be also with my colleagues here on the stage. We'll be a great team, and together, yes, we'll be able to be back in government, and we'll be able to bring more jobs and opportunities in Canada. Merci.